And so, blank game week 34 saw half the world play the free hit, and every single flaming player that was in all those free hit drafts, well, they absolutely smashed it. And everyone that dared to play differently like myself got absolutely decimated. And somehow my 93-point lead at the top of the League of Gentlemen has been absolutely obliterated. And as it stands, that lead is down to just 32 points. 61 massive points stolen back from me in just a game week and a half. And I'd love to be able to sit here and give you one of my over-edited videos with PNG images flashing up all over the screen and epic music switches and the sort of storytelling flair you just don't see anywhere else in this game. But I just don't have it in me this week. So today I'm going to strip away all the smoke and mirrors, and I'm just going to be real with you. Because right now I'm absolutely devastated. There's no two ways about it. I'm fucking crushed. These last 2 game weeks have broken me. And the thought of spending 20 hours reliving this misery in minute detail over the next few days as I edit in all the pretty pictures to try and make it a better experience for you all, I just can't face it. So I can't give you my over-the-top persona this week, I'm afraid, and hopefully this broken shell of the man I've become will suffice, just this once. And, you know, it's funny because 10 days ago I was so confident. You know, double game week 33 started and I had 5 extra double game week players to my closest rival. He only had 2 double game week players. His reckless, unprepared chip strategy had left him completely unable to attack the doubles. So he just had to sign players that would have a game every week. And somehow he's absolutely smashed me. He's destroyed me and I don't know how he's done it. You know, I called him Midas Morton last week because everything he touched turned to gold. But it's just ridiculous. Like, I know he's a decent player, but 30 points in 3 game weeks is unbelievable. And in that time, I've had 3 clean sheets lost in the dying moments of matches. I've had a keeper concede twice to Leicester. You know, they've scored in 1 flipping match that wasn't against Spurs since game week 20, and it was against my bloody keeper. And of course, the Gladiators keeper saved a penalty last week, and then feckin' Aït-Nouri survived one this week. Like, fuck me, yeah, what are you meant to do? This game, like... And you know, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Gladiator. You know, it's impressive as fuck that he's entered blank and double season with no chips and with only 2 double game week players, and he's somehow clawed back 61 points on someone who has had all those extra games. Like, give the bloke his flowers. It's awesome for him. And, you know, I'm dead happy for him, like I am. And yes, I've seen all those light-hearted comments and tweets saying they love seeing him come back and they hope he makes a fight of it. But this has been absolutely savage. Like, game week 32, I take this massive chance. Morgan Rogers in the form of his life, a double game week in 33, Southampton in 32, such an obvious signing. All the big name experts brought him in, and you can see why. And I took a chance, and I committed to saving my free hit in 34, and I brought in Luis Diaz. And do you know what's happened? That move paid off. Diaz outscored Rogers by 6 points, and I still have my free hit. That was a massive call, one everyone told me was daft, and I got it spot on. And then the fecking Gladiator had Zoboslai this week and he's outscored Diaz and all the shine's been taken off that move. I can't even celebrate getting one over on the algorithm acolytes because they've all had Diaz this week and they had bloody Sessegnon scoring stoppage time and Sarr saved the penalty, and I can't even celebrate Big Dan Burns' goal because everybody's got bloody Trippier. At least Kirkes is getting me a clean sheet, I thought, right up until the 96th bastard minute. Every bloody week with these late wipeouts, it's just so hard to take. This week I took a hit for Cunha, and I can't even celebrate nailing that call, because all Cunha's points gave points to Midas Morton's Aït-Nouri and Strand Larsen. It just never ends. You know, no matter how well I do, no matter what big calls I get, somehow they all seem to go wrong, and it's so hard to cope with, it's so hard to deal with. And honestly, I know that this is already a fucking pity party, but you know, I had that glimmer of hope. I knew I was going to lose ground this week, but it would be fine, because double game week 36 and blank game week 37, that's when I'd get it back and then some. And then fucking Aston Villa. I don't know what I've ever done to them tossers, but absolutely thrashing Newcastle in 33 wasn't enough. They have to go and get thumped by Palace, leaving the double game week in the mud. And then Spurs say they are going to request their game gets moved forward. And like, fine, maybe we get one double up, and maybe it is Spurs, but at least it's something. And then for no reason whatsoever, Aston fucking Villa say they're going to fight against a fixture moving forward into 36. Like, why? Are they absolutely fucking stupid? They've just been hammered by Palace in the semi-final because they've played 3 games in a week. All they have to play for now is that Champions League spot. And now they want to go into the final day of the season, where they'll likely have to win to have a chance of the Champions League, and they want to play 3 or 4 days beforehand when the main rivals will all be rested. It's absolutely fucking thick. It feels like a fucking vendetta against me, personally, because I said their players weren't worth having in double game week 33. And I wasn't fucking wrong either. The defence was crap, and Conser got exactly the 3 points I said was his ceiling. And like, Watkins did alright, but it's not like many went there. And Rashford, he did alright as well, but now he's injured, so he's a transfer for everyone. You know, Aston Villa were a waste of time, except for my man Steve-O, who did alright on his free hit with them. And fair play to him, because he's had a tough season. It's nice to see him get some rewards. But Villa are now they're wanting to sabotage their own Champions League chances for no reason. And it just feels spiteful. You know, and I know it's all a bit narcissistic. Oh my God, Aston Villa, they're not thinking of fucking FPL Nightmare's FPL season when they're planning the fixtures. But like, this team, Aston fucking Villa, can't stand them like. So now double game week 36 might be a bust, and I've taken this massive gamble, I've gone against the herd, and it's most likely all for nothing. And to make matters worse, all those clowns that let me down in game week 33, they absolutely smashed it in the cup this weekend. Where were Sarr and Gvardiol's goals when they could have helped me, Marmoush assist, Man City clean sheet. That's probably 23 to 29 potential FPL points gone begging if they'd actually got them in games that actually matter. But no, when I need them, when they could actually make a positive impact on the world, absolutely nothing. Do you know, it's actually quite funny in a way, because before I was making these videos, I used to do what I do on YouTube nowadays as blogs, and then I'd compile them into books at the end of the season and self-publish them on Amazon. And in the first of those books, my mate Big Steve, he was romping away with the title. He was 120 points clear or something daft in November. And then my mate King Ding, one of the best men at my wedding to my beautiful wife, he got his thinking cap on and he plotted and he planned, and somehow he caught Big Steve with a game week to go and then beat him by 20 odd points or something on the final day. And I thought that was epic. Like, over 100 points behind and he managed to catch him. And I was gutted for Big Steve, because I couldn't imagine how crap that must have felt to know that the mini-league was being documented in such entertaining must-read fashion, and it would forever be immortalised that he had had such a lead and lost it at the death. The Kevin Keegan of FPL, I think I called him, and I did mean that as a compliment, because Kevin Keegan is my hero, even though he did fall short. And I couldn't imagine how that felt for Big Steve, but now I can. Because here I am putting 20 hours a week into making these videos, giving you my heart and soul and everything I've got, earning every single one of those 200 views a video I struggled to get. And now I'm experiencing what Big Steve experienced, but it's even more brutal, because the Gladiators chopped my legs off in 2 game weeks and I've still got to make these videos. You know, I may very well end up on the losing end of the greatest comeback in FPL history. and I've got to document the excruciating, agonising, absolutely brutal process in minute detail and somehow be entertaining while doing so. And this week I just don't have it in me, so instead of being entertaining, I'm just being real, and I hope that's enough because it's all I've got. And look, I know some of you might be watching and thinking, why is this 40-year-old loser taking it all so personally? Why is he so affected by it? It's just a game, for God's sake. It's just a silly game. And it is, I know that, but it matters to me because I've chosen to make it matter, and I'm not going to let anyone shame me for that. Laugh at me if you want, I don't care. I feel kind of sad for you that you've got an FPL Twitter account and you watch FPL videos and you invest all that time into something you think doesn't matter, if I'm honest. Maybe that detached, ironic persona you've adopted makes you feel better about life, but that doesn't work for me because I'm able to be honest with myself. FPL does matter to me for reasons I went into in more detail on my Have a Beer interview with Gary. And I do feel somewhat humiliated right now because I'm trying my absolute best and it's all gone wrong. And look, I know this doesn't apply to the vast majority of people watching this, but you know, there's always someone that takes pleasure in seeing someone unhappy at this game, and you know, that little bit was just for them. But yeah, I do feel embarrassed, I do feel a bit humiliated, and I find that hard, and I've no shame in admitting that. And nobody will make me feel bad for loving this game and wanting to be good at it, and for wanting to show off my mates doing well in the process. And the fact that there are people I don't know hoping the gladiator pulls it back and wins, you know, that's quite beautiful, because at least I've achieved that. I've managed to get strangers emotionally invested into someone they've never heard of, who has never engaged with the FPL community at all, and who doesn't do anything around the game except have crack with me about it, and I've got people wanting him to win. Somehow these daft videos I make have connected on that level with some people, and honestly I do think that's something that's quite wonderful. It just fucking sucks that it feels like he might pull off the greatest comeback ever at my expense. Fucking hell, like, it's a cruel mistress, this game. I will say this though, my man Ricky Ricardo, so nice they named him twice, he saw me gutted again on Twitter last night and he sent me some lovely tweets. Mate, I feel you. These moments suck, but you're killing it overall. There's a massive points haul just around the corner. And then I said to him, I wish I shared your optimism. And he did the Twitter version of grabbing me and giving me a shake. And he turned into my own personal Coach Carter or something. And he goes, you're the FPL Nightmare. This is your path, your destiny. The Gentleman's League will be yours. Battles aren't won without scars and greatness never comes easy. Regroup, refocus and charge ahead with everything you've got. The FPL gods are watching and they believe in you. Now go and claim what's yours. And then he goes, your moves have already proven the worth. Diaz has stepped up twice and the others are just getting started. Hold strong, there's still a lot of magic left in this game week for you. And you know, I want to believe him. I want to believe in myself the way Ricky Ricardo seems to believe in me. And I don't know, maybe I owe it to you all to try. Maybe I need to see the story through Ricky Ricardo's eyes. After all, I'm still 32 points clear in the world's greatest mini-league. And though both the Gladiator and I have Umbumo to play, I also have Milenkovic and Wissa to come. That lead should extend, even if only by 3 or 4 points, but hopefully more. And furthermore, I should climb back up those overall rankings a bit. And then at the weekend, I can sell Saka for Bowen, and that not only negates another of the Gladiators' main threats, but it could give me the advantage in the overall ranking chase. And Midas Morton, he has no trips left, as do most of those ahead of me in the rankings, but I still have that free hit. And while it may not be as powerful as I hoped it might be, in the week Liverpool play Arsenal, Newcastle play Chelsea and Kirkes plays Villa, I can load up on Brentford, Forest and Man City gritty against those relegated teams. And who knows, maybe Erling Haaland is fit, and maybe Haaland can be my differential, and maybe I even get lucky and we do get a double game week, and maybe I can have my pick in 36 and 37 while everyone else is scrambling and taking hits. And if those doubles don't happen, then maybe I manage to stay just ahead of the Gladiator until that final day, and then maybe on that final day I just free hit the exact same squad he has, and I chance that I can beat his transfer and guess his captain, and I just Schumacher my way to victory. Maybe Ricky Ricardo, this wonderful stranger from the African island of Cape Verde, maybe he has been sent by the FPL gods themselves. Maybe he's been sent to lift my blues, to raise my spirits, and to keep me fighting what has undeniably become the greatest battle of my FPL career. And it's funny because I've told you all season I'm trying to craft this narrative to create the most entertaining story that FPL content has ever seen. And I have written a few books, and there's this storytelling framework called The Hero's Journey, and it outlines at what part of a story inciting incidents should happen, when the protagonist should learn his lessons, how the people he meets along the way change him. And this game, it has changed me, and I have been supported by some wonderful people, too many to list right now, but I hope they all know who they are. And if you're watching this and you think you might be one, you most likely are. And in this storytelling framework, The Hero's Journey, the protagonist must face the dark night of the soul before the final battle, the point where all hope feels lost, but they resolve to overcome what once felt unachievable and to win that ultimate fight. And this Hero's Journey framework, it says this should happen with about 10% of the story remaining. And where are we now? There's 4 game weeks left, and that's about 10% of the season. And I don't know if I can complete this journey. I don't know if I can return home with that League of Gentlemen trophy. All I know is that I'm going to give it all I've got. I'm going to give you all I've got. I'm going to hope Milenkovic, Wissa and Umbumo set me back on the path. I'm going to hope game week 35 sees a momentum shift back in my favour. And I'm going to hope the fixtures fall kindly and I can get my transfers right. And I hope I can get back up those rankings. But if I'm honest with you, like I always am, I'd rather finish 10 million and win the League of Gentlemen by 1 point than finish in the top 10k and lose it by that same point. The League of Gentlemen is all that matters to me right now, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. My lead was 93 points. The Gladiator has done incredibly to get it down to 32, but now I have Milenkovic, Wissa, 4 game weeks and 1 free hit to get over the line. And whether you want me or the Gladiator to win, I want you along for the ride, because my little story that I tell in these videos, it's what FPL is all about. It's about heart, it's about soul, and it's about how this simple game can mean so much to so many people. Thank you for indulging me just this once with this slightly different video, with this feeling sorry for myself and trying to find a way back. It may not be the video you thought you were gonna get this week, but it's the only video I could make. And now I need you to make sure we're back in outer space next week by hitting those like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you next time.
It's an FPL Nightmare, got me pulling out more, yeah. I'm the greatest football manager to ever grace the old armchair, but the FPL gods hate me, and no one seems to care that my points are only average and my ranking is not fair.